بالتعاون مع المندوبية الجهوية للتربية بتطاوين، إذاعة تطاوين تقدم إذاعة الباكالوريا. إذاعة الباكالوريا اليوم مادة الانقليزية مع الأستاذ الحوات.
Good evening to all Tataouine radio listener. You are welcome. Good evening to all the students. Good evening to all the back student. You are listening to with the back student program broadcasted in English and presented by الحوات. I know that all the students now are on a holiday, so I hope for you a good holiday and enjoy your time. Hello everybody. In the last session, and with the help of my colleague Mr. اليحياوي, to whom I sent my greetings, we stated some tips how to deal with an English test, and here I mean how to go through the different parts of an English test: the reading comprehension, the language, and the writing. Last time, Mr. Dean explained in details what are the different steps that a student should follow while writing, how to answer reading comprehensions questions, and how to do a language exercise. Today, I'd like to focus on on practicing the language. I mean how to make sentences, how to connect sentence parts by using a special expression or words to get meaningful sentences and to avoid repetition. And I think these techniques are useful for both grammar and writings. Today I'm going to deal with the use of pronouns and the use of pronouns in English language. As you know, we have different types of pronouns. So let's start with the subject or the personal pronouns, which are you, I, he, she, it, they, and we. We have also the object pronouns me, you, him, her, it, them, and us. The relative pronouns which, that, whose, whoever, whomever, who, whom, what, where, and when. The possessive pronouns mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, and theirs. And do not forget the reflexive pronouns myself, himself, herself, itself, yourself, ourselves, themselves, and oneself. So, first, I'm going to focus on the use of relative pronouns. As you know, they are used to link sentence parts. So first, let's define relative pronouns. What is a relative pronoun? A relative pronoun is used to refer to nouns mentioned previously, whether they are people, places, things, animals, or ideas. Relative pronouns are used to join sentences. The most common relative pronouns in the English language are which, that, whose, whoever, whomever, who, whom, what, when, and where. I mention here a few rules for using relative pronouns. Keep them in mind as you write. Relative clauses are typically introduced by relative pronouns, and that the relative pronouns can function as a possessive pronoun and as an object pronoun or as a subject pronoun. When relative pronouns introduce restrictive relative clauses, no comma is used to separate the restrictive clause from the main clause, and here I'm talking about pronunciation. And we can mention also the restrictive clauses versus non-restrictive clause. So a restrictive clause, there is no comma, and the information that contains the relative pronoun is very essential to the sentence. I mean, we cannot omit it. And here I mention an example from your textbook. The man who invented the telephone was a teacher. So who invented the telephone? So it is a restrictive clause, and it's essential to the sentence. While non-restrictive clause or non-defining clause, so the clause or the relative clause is not essential. I mean, it add an extra information to the subject or to the noun. And here I also mention the example from your textbook. James Hillier, who shared the credit for inventing the electron microscope, died at age 29. So who shared the credit for inventing the electron microscope is between two commas, and so the information here is an extra, because the noun is or the subject is noun, James Hillier. The following sentence contain examples of relative pronouns. Okay, let me read the sentences. Listen, please. The first sentence: the cyclist who won the race trained hard. Who won the race trained hard. Sentence number 2: the pants that I bought yesterday are already stained. So here in the first sentence we use who to replace a person, and number 2 we use that to replace a thing. Sentence number 3: the 4 team leaders, whoever the committee selects, will be at tomorrow's meeting. Spaghetti, which we eat at least twice a week, is one of my family's favorite meals. So which we eat at least twice a week. So here it's between two commas. Where did you buy the dress that you wore last week? The book, when it was finally returned, was torn and stained. The store on the corner where we usually buy our art supplies burned to the ground. So let's now do some practice. So the following exercise will help you gain greater understanding about how to use relative pronouns. So please, your attention, listen and write down the sentence and choose the best answer. So I read sentence by sentence and I give you the options to choose the best relative pronouns. Number 1, the festival blank lasted all day, ended with a banquet. Options between brackets: that, who, in which, what. I repeat, the festival blank lasted all day, ended with a banquet. Options: that, who, which, and what. So here we have to choose the best answer. The festival that lasted all day, ended with a banquet. The festival that lasted all day ended with a banquet, and that is used for I think the festival is. Sentence number 2. I'm looking for someone blank can watch my dog while I go on vacation. I repeat, I'm looking for someone can blank can watch my dog while I go on vacation. The options: which, who, whoever, and whom. I repeat, which, who, whoever, and whom. The answer: I'm looking for someone. Someone is a person, so here we use who as a relative pronoun. So I am looking for someone who can watch my dog while I go on vacation. Number 3, the police needed details blank could help identify the robber. The police needed details blank could help identify the robber. Options: who, whatever, that, what. I repeat, who, whatever, that, and what. Okay, let's answer. The police needed details that could help identify the robber. So that is a relative pronoun for a thing. And here we have details that could help identify the robber. Sentence number 4. I'd like to take you to a cafe, service excellent coffee. I'd like to take you to a cafe, blank, service excellent coffee. Options: what, whatever, which. I repeat, what, whatever, and which. Let's answer. I'd like to take you to a cafe which serves excellent coffee. So which is used for a thing, a cafe which serves excellent coffee. Sentence number 5. The club house in blank the dance was held housed about 200 people. The clubhouse in blank the dance was held housed about 200 people. Choices: which, where, that, and whom. Which, where, that, and whom. The answer: the club house in which the dance was held housed about 200 people. Okay, so if we do not have the preposition in, so the choice will be where. The club house where the dance was held housed about 200 people. Sentence number 6. You can choose one person, a blank, you like to share the cruise with you. You can choose one person you like, and here between two commas, to share the cruise with you. Options: whomever, that, which, and whom. I repeat, whoever, that, which, and whom. So here you can choose one person, whomever you like, to share the cruise with you. And whom is referring to an object, whomever you like to share the cruise with you. Sentence number 7. I saw the shoes, blank, you bought last week on sale for less than this week. I saw the shoes, blank, you bought last week on sale for less than this week. Options: when, that, who, and whom. I saw the shoes that you bought last week on sale for less than this week. Sentence number 8. The winners, comma, blank, noun, will receive money and other prizes. The options: whoever, who, when, and that. Whoever, who, when, and that. The correct answer: the winners, comma, when, noun, will receive money and other prizes. And here one is for the time. It means when they are noun, they will receive money and other prizes. Sentence number 9. This is the place we met. This is the place we met. The options: when, where, who, and that. This is the place where we met. This is the place where we met. So the place and where is used for a place. The last sentence: the baby, blank, nap had been interrupted, comma, wailed loudly. The baby, comma, blank, nap had been interrupted, comma, wailed loudly. And wail, it means to cry loudly. The options: whose, whomever, whom, and who. I repeat the sentence: the baby, comma, blank, nap had been interrupted, wailed loudly. The options: whose, whomever, whom, and who. Let's answer. The baby, whose map had been interrupted, and here whose is used for a possession. I mean the map's baby, or whose map had been, whose nap had been interrupted, wailed loudly. Okay, good evening again, and hello to everybody, and you are welcome to the With the Back student program broadcasted in English language. I hope that you have enjoyed listening to the song, and let's go on or carry on with the use of relative clauses. So here I'll focus on the relative clauses that maybe add extra information to the subject or to the noun. So here I mentioned some examples. The man who lives next door is very friendly. Jerry works for a company that makes typewriters. Have you found the keys that you lost? So in these examples, the relative clauses tell us which person or thing or what kind of person or thing the speaker means. The man who lives next door tell us which man. I mean the man who lives next door. Sentence number 2, a company that makes typewriters tell us what kind of company. The keys that you lost tell us which keys you lost. But not all relative clauses are like this. For example, Tom's father, who is 78, goes swimming every day. The house at the end of the street, which has been empty for 2 years, has been sold. In these examples, the relative clauses who is 78 and which has been empty for 2 years do not tell us which person or thing the speaker means. We already know which person or thing is meant. Tom's father and the house at the end of the street. The relative clauses in these sentences give us extra information about the person or the thing. So here we can omit this sentence or this clause, and the sentence has a meaning. You can also use who, whom, and where in extra information relative clauses. Example, Martin, whose mother is Spanish, speaks both Spanish and English fluently. Mr. Hogg is going to Canada, where his son has been living for 5 years. My sister, whom or who you once met, is visiting us next week. Okay, so let's move to some exercise, to do some exercise. So I'm going to read the sentence, and you have to use or to combine the sentence parts using one of the appropriate relative pronouns. We have an example here. Tom's father goes swimming every day. Tom's father is 78. So we can say Tom's father, who is 78, goes swimming every day. Sentence number 2, or example number 2. She told me her address. I wrote her address down on a piece of paper. So in order to avoid repetition, so we have to use the appropriate relative pronouns. She told me her address, which I wrote down on a piece of paper. I repeat, she told me her address, which I wrote down on a piece of paper. Okay, the first sentence, you have to use the appropriate relative pronoun. I read the first sentence. She showed me photographs. She showed me a photograph of her son. Between parentheses, her son is a policeman. She showed me a photograph of her son. So here the appropriate relative pronoun, since a policeman or a son is a person, so we use who is a policeman. Sentence number 2. We decided not to swim in the sea. The sea looked rather dirty. We decided not to swim in the sea looked rather dirty. The answer: we decided not to swim in the sea which looked rather dirty. So which refers to the sea. Sentence number 3. The new stadium will be opened next month. Between parentheses, the stadium holds 90,000 people. I repeat, the new stadium will be opened next month. The stadium holds 90,000 people. The answer: the new stadium, which holds 90,000 people, will be opened next month. Sentence number 4. John is one of my closest friends. I have known John for 8 years. John is one of my closest friends. I have known John for 8 years. The answer: John is one of my closest friends whom I have known for 8 years. Or we can use who. John is one of my closest friends who I have known for 8 years. Sentence number 4. That man over there is an artist. I don't remember his name. That man over there is an artist. I don't remember his name. The answer: the man over there is an artist. I don't remember his name. So we can say the man who is an artist. I don't remember his name. The man who is an artist. I don't remember his name. Sentence number 6. Opposite our home there is a nice park. There are some beautiful trees in this park. So I repeat, opposite our house there is a nice park. There are some beautiful trees in this park. So the answer: the park where there are some beautiful trees is opposite our house. The park where, the park is a place, so we use where. The park where there are some beautiful trees is opposite our house. Sentence number 7. The storm caused a lot of damage. Nobody had been expecting the storm. The storm caused a lot of damage. Nobody had been expecting the storm. So the answer: the storm which nobody had been expecting caused a lot of damage. The storm which nobody had been expecting caused a lot of damage. Sentence number 8. The postman was late this morning. The postman is nearly always on time. The answer: the postman who is late this morning is nearly always on time. We often go to visit our friends in Bristol. Bristol is only 30 miles away. We often go to visit our friends in Bristol. Bristol is only 30 miles away. That's the answer. We often go to visit our friends in Bristol, which is only 30 miles away. We often go to visit my friends in Bristol, which is only 30 miles away. Mr. Edward has gone into hospital for some tests. His health hasn't been good recently. I repeat, Mr. Edwards has gone into hospital for some tests. His health hasn't been good recently. So the answer, Mr. Edwards, whose health hasn't been good recently, has gone into hospital for some tests. Jack looks much nicer without his bird. His bird made him look much older. So the answer, Jack looks much nicer without his bird, which made him look much older. Jack looks much nicer without his bird, which made him look much older. I want to see the doctor. The doctor told me to rest for a few days. I want to see the doctor. The doctor told me to rest for a few days. The answer, I want to see the doctor who told me to rest for a few days. Thank you for your letter. I was very happy to get your letter. Thank you for your letter. I was very happy to get your letter. So the answer, thank you for your letter, which I was very happy to get. Thank you for your letter, which I was very happy to get. A friend of mine helped me to get a job. His father is the manager of a company. A friend of mine helped me to get a job. His father is the manager of a company. So the answer, a friend of mine whose father is the manager of a company helped me to get a job. Next weekend I am going to Glasgow. My sister lives in Glasgow. Next week I am going to Glasgow. My sister lives in Glasgow. The answer, next weekend I am going to Glasgow where my sister lives. Next weekend I am going to Glasgow where my sister lives. The population of London is now falling. London was once the largest city in the world. The population of London is now falling. London was once the largest city in the world. So the answer, the population of London, which was once the largest city in the world, is now falling. I repeat, the population of London, which was once the largest city in the world, is now falling. I looked up at the moon. The moon was very bright that evening. I looked up at the moon. The moon was very bright that evening. The answer, I looked up at the moon, which was very bright that evening. The last sentence, we spent a pleasant day by the lake. We had a picnic by the lake. So I repeat, we spent a pleasant day by the lake. We had a picnic by the lake. Yes, the answer, we spent a pleasant day by the lake where we had a picnic. So I repeat, we spent a pleasant day by the lake where we had a picnic. Or we can say, we spent So the answer, we spent a pleasant day by the lake. We had a picnic by the lake. We spent a pleasant day by the lake where we had a picnic. Okay, at the end I hope that I benefited everybody and that I provided the addition. Thank you for your listening and patience with us, and until we meet again in another session, thank you very much and goodbye.